choice, Matt Gates, withdraws. Well, Labor MP Michelle Ananda-Rajah will run for the Senate at the next election when her seat of Higgins is abolished. Dr Ananda-Rajah won the Inner Melbourne seat from Liberal MP Katie Allen at the 2022 election. She was nominated overnight to third position on Labor's Victorian Senate ticket, behind Raf Ciccone and Jess Walsh. The last time Labor won 3 Senate spots in the state was back in 2007, when Kevin Rudd secured government in a landslide. She delivered her valedictory speech on Monday after her seat was eliminated in the latest boundary redistribution. And Dr Ananda-Rajah joins me live in the studio now. It's going to be a tough battle, but you've done it before. You've won the unwinnable of Higgins, even if it is short-lived, but it was a blue seat heartland, I guess you could say. Are you up for the battle?
Absolutely. Firstly, thanks for having me, Holly. Great to be here. I am very familiar with the unwinnable contest, and the fact that I made this win. It was a historic win, taking not just a Liberal seat, but a stronghold Liberal seat. First time in the seat's 75-year history, was truly historic. So I've done crazy and I've done impossible.
Good for you. It's going to be a tough challenge. Firstly, how did you feel when Higgins was abolished in that redistribution?
I was gutted. I mean, it took us 75 years to win this seat, firstly, but it was also a really sad day. This is a seat that's steeped in history. It's a seat of 4 former Prime Ministers. Holt, Gorton and Menzies and Fraser actually lived there at one point, a seat of Australia's longest-serving Treasurer. And to me, history matters. I am a little bit old-fashioned. And I just wanted to kind of outline that, and because although the seat has been erased, the history of that seat should not be erased. So when I heard about the abolition, I felt quite disappointed, obviously, with the decision. On a number of levels. One, I have served this remarkable community, a community that actually cares more about others than itself. I've described it repeatedly as a lion-hearted community. But I was also disappointed because our parliament is in desperate need of more women and, of course, people from diverse backgrounds. And that's something that I think is really important. It's called the House of Representatives for a reason. And finally, in 2022, thanks to a Labor government, it started to live up to its name.
So what made you decide to take a Senate tilt? What was that moment?
It was a pretty easy decision to make, actually. I came into the parliament basically wanting to get things done. I came in there to roll up my sleeves. And as you know, I left a very successful, rewarding medical career. I was a medical specialist. I had an academic career as well. And I was also an activist during the pandemic. So I'd been tested outside of politics, and I'd already made a contribution. And I came into politics in order to improve the outcomes of the Australian people, right? On housing, on the energy transition, on women, on restoring confidence and integrity to government, because there is an enormous trust deficit between the people and leaders. So when the seat was abolished, I was disappointed, but I was determined to find a pathway back. I am grateful that that pathway is now through the Senate. It's important to note that as it stands, the Senate, unfortunately, has become a place where worthy ideas go to die. It has become a place of blockers rather than builders.
So how do you plan on changing that then?
I will bring pragmatism and reasoned debate to the Senate. I'm also well aware that this House of Review has become a house of chaos. It hasn't escaped me that the antics in the Senate are also bringing the Australian Parliament into disrepute. And I won't name names, but I think the Australian people are smart enough to know what I'm referring to. So I think that it's important for the Australian people to see, one, people from outside of politics making a contribution, people with professional backgrounds having a crack at this, and really in there for the right reasons, which is in delivering for the Australian people.
You mentioned there that there is a lot of blockers. Perfect time to ask you now, given today the Greens announcing there, we just heard from Sarah Hanson-Young saying that they'll block the social media age limit, they'll block the misinformation bill. What's your response to that?
Well, it says it all. It says it all about the Greens. Absolutely astonishing that they would make this call at a time when we have epidemic levels of mental health harm in young people, including children, girls and boys. These algorithms are targeting children for a reason. They're making them addicted. They're driving problems with body self-image, both in boys and girls, as well as misogynistic type behaviour that boys are modelling themselves over, depending on the kind of toxicity that they're seeing online. That's completely unacceptable. So it astonishes me, but I'm not surprised, given the behaviour of the Greens in the Senate on housing, on blocking a future made in Australia, and now this social media ban, that they would do this.
To quote, unquote, Sarah Hanson-Young, she said it was a sham. Do you have a response to Sarah Hanson-Young?
Absolutely outrageous. What is she talking about? We are sending an important signal both to the industry, to the big tech companies, as well as to parents and teachers who are throwing their hands up in despair, unable to police or supervise their children who are online 24/7 sometimes. This is an addiction. And my concern is not only are the mental health impacts difficult to quantify, right? There is also problems associated with rewiring the growing brain of children. It is fracking our attention. It is driving us into corners. It is spinning up polarization. It is killing our negotiation skills. That is not a legacy I want to gift to the next generation of Australian children.
Some powerful words there, Dr. Ananda Raja. A big challenge ahead for you. All the best. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, and moving